There you go.
Perfect. So let's get this party started. Joining us watching in or watching us later, we are Optional. That's Brian.
Jordan,
Brown.
Oh my.
Matthew, Daniel, owner of this fine establishment. We have Matt and Joel with us from Four Saints Brewing out of Greensboro, North Carolina. I think I'm doing them so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Hey.
So tell us a little bit about the history of Four Saints.
You want to do it? You want me to do it?
That's all you do.
Paper, rock, scissors.
That's a test. Let's see what he says. At Four Saints, we it all started with beer, really.
You
Can we get a bonfire? So it all started with Andrew, meeting Andrew and his wife at the time. This was 2008. It was right after my wife and I got married. She was teaching second grade. I was teaching fourth grade at school in Asheboro. Andrew and his family moved into town, and his wife was teaching third grade. His oldest daughter was in my wife's class in second grade, and so we got to know their daughters. We got to know Amy really well because we saw him Monday through Friday, all the time. We knew Andrew existed, but we never had met him.
Okay.
And one day, Amy came into my classroom and she said, "We, the girls and I, we like you and Kristen." And we're like, well, "Cool. I think you're a pretty good guy." I'm like, "Well, that's great." And she goes, "Will you hang out with my husband?" And so, at the time, Andrew was a manager at Lowe's Hardware up here in Greensboro. So he was working 12-hour shifts. So he'd either leave at 6 a.m. and come home at 6 p.m. or leave at 12 noon and come home at midnight. And so, that's pretty much all he was doing was working. And so I was like, "Yeah, you and the girls seem okay, and I guess he'd be an all right guy to hang out with." And so we started hanging out, and went over to his house and we watched football. He's a gun collector, so we go out to the range and shoot guns, and got to know the family even better. And one day he said, "So I see that you like beer." And I'm like, "Yeah, we've had a couple together." He goes, "Well, I brew beer." And it's like, why didn't you start with that? It could have been like number one. Like, we could have just cut through all this other stuff and got right to the beer. And it's just
hanging out
it's
weeks
like,
ago.
well, I realized getting to know him now, known him since it's been almost 10 years now. He was testing me, like seeing if I was worthy of finding this stuff out.
We got a shout out for that.
And nice. And so we started brewing together, and so we right in his garage. There was two other guys that joined us. So every month on Saturday, we'd get together at his place, and we'd brew beer. And by we, I mean we would just stand around and watch Andrew brew, and we would just kind of ask questions, act like no, we weren't even doing that. We were basically doing this. We're like, "Oh, what'd you just do? What'd you just do?" Yeah, taking copious notes of nothing. So Andrew would he would do the brewing, and we would learn some things. But then a month later we'd get together again and drink what we made last time, do the next thing, and it was those garage conversations that we started talking about doing the brewery.
Okay.
And it was just around that time. If you're familiar with Asheboro, it was dry up till 2008 for like 50 plus years. And so alcohol had just been brought back in, local prohibition ended, and some things started to pop up, and everything was about local, everything was about supporting what was once there. And so the other things that happened in 2008 was a Great Recession, so people were losing jobs left and right.
Yeah.
Forbes magazine actually called Asheboro one of the fastest dying cities in America. 60 Minutes came to town to do a story on that. So people losing jobs left and right. Can't count on big corporations. We've got people that are telling us that we are dying and dead. We've got this grassroots effort to make changes to bring alcohol back into town with the purpose of growing the economy, not because we wanted people falling over in the gutters and stuff.
Right.
And so that's just it's become an unintended consequence, right? And so people got pissed off, and people, were like, we're gonna make this town great again.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna bring back what once was, and so we were gonna be a part of that. And there was a chili contest or chili cook-off, and we were down there, and we had been talking about doing this brewery, talking about doing a bottle shop, something, and we're sitting there, and it's local organizations, local charities, local people, local produce. Everything was local. We're standing in this little beer garden, and it's a little beer trailer, and it's serving 3 macro beers, and that was anything but local. And that's where Andrew and I had the handshake moment that we were going to take it from these conversations, these fun garage conversations, to actually doing it. And we made the statement, we're going to open up a brewery in Asheboro, and took it to our wives, sat down. I was sitting with Kristen, my wife, over a plate of spaghetti, and I'll never forget it because she's sitting there.
Probably the best spaghetti you ever made. I'm going to make this good.
And it was just, I looked at her across the table, and I said, we really need to talk about Four Saints. And she said, yeah, okay. And I said, no. This is a put your fork down conversation. And so she gave me that look. If you've ever been in a relationship and girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, whatever, that look when you say, no, put your fork down. And so we had that conversation, and at the end of it, she said, I'm in. And Andrew had the same conversation with his wife. I don't know if it was the same night. I don't know if it was over spaghetti or beef stroganoff. But I remember.
These guys pasta, some serious.
So Andrew and I, it was. I remember next time we got together, it was like we just kind of walked up to each other with this kind of like on an old West kind of mentality, just kind of sized each other up, not sure what each other's wife had said, and then we shook hands, and since then it's been on a tear. So 2014, I left my teaching job. 2014, he left his job at Lowe's in 2013, and we did a Kickstarter in 2012 that we raised, at the time, was the most money ever raised on Kickstarter by a brewery, and it was the 5th largest food project on Kickstarter at the time. So, like, if you got on there at July 2012, and you looked up breweries, there's Asheboro, there's Four Saints right up top. If you looked up food project, it was San Francisco, Boston, Austin, Denver, Asheboro. Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean,
We ain't going anywhere.
And so, we just went for it, and we found a great space. We got a great landlord. We got a great community that's all around us. We got great people that have decided to come and put their time and efforts into making Four Saints all about what our mission is, which is great beer for great people. I mean, and that's it. And that's the beginning story, and there's a whole lot in between there.
Who was the first bottle shop to come pick you up?
First bottle shop, I don't know. There was these 2 complete a-holes. He just kind of busted down the door, and they were like, "Yo, we want beer."
That's what it is.
Now, and so I want to. So insight to that. Andrew came and got me. He's like, "So some guys are here to buy beer. Can we do that?" I was like, "I don't know. We should call our lawyer." Because we were still. I mean, we were so fresh and green, and we didn't know. And we were like, "Well, let's just make it happen." And it was.
Let's at least talk to him.
Yeah, let's at least maybe shake hands or something. But no, it was Gate City Growlers. I don't even remember what your first 2 were. I mean, I could look it up and find out for sure, but
I think it was the Amber.
Probably was.
And it might have been either bar IPA, because I think we had like 2 or 3 kids.
It wouldn't have been an IPA. It would have been. You can look it up. See, he'll find it. Matt will find out.
The only was the first I saw around.
Oh yeah, the blonde ale the blonde ale and the amber ale are our 2 best sellers in the tap room week over week, and then out in distribution. The blonde ale and the amber ale, they're staples, and just clean. The blonde's clean and crisp, not too malty, not too hoppy. Pairs well with everything. Good introduction to craft beer, and then the amber ale has got some really good malty caramel flavors. And then it's got just a little bit of a hot bite on the back end, just to kind of give it a little bit of a kick. And one of my favorite stories about those 2 beers is my wife was working behind the bar at Four Saints, and I made the comment once that Randolph County was a Bud Light county, and someone looked at me and said, "No, America is a Bud Light country." And I was like, "That's kind of a good point there." And so we had a guy come in. She had a guy come in, I should say. What was it?
Potter's Clay and Bitter Brothers.
Bitter Brothers and Potter's, the ESB and the Amber. There you go. So she, this guy came in, just grizzled, older guy, sat down, and she went over. Wasn't him? Wasn't no. Yeah. So he sat down and she went over and she greeted him and she was being pleasant and everything. And he said, "I drink Coors Light. What do you have? It's like Coors Light." And she said, "Well, we don't have an American adjunct lager, but we do have a blonde ale. Let me go ahead and get you some, and let me get you one, and you try it. If you don't like it, it's all house." So she went and poured in a beer. She sat down in front of him, and she walked away. Give him a chance. You don't want anybody hovering over you while you're trying something.
What do you think?
Right now, this is automatically get away.
Yeah.
And so she walked back when he was done, and he went, "That was pretty good. All right, that wasn't that bad." And she goes, he said, "Well, what do you have next?" And so she poured on the amber ale, and she set it down, and she explained it to him, and he looked at it, he goes, "That's dark." She said, "It's darker than what you're used to, sure." Right. And unfortunately, unfortunately, our logo doesn't turn blue when it gets really cold. So she explained it, and he just looked at her, and she walked away. And he finished the beer. She came back, and he's had this look on her face. She got ready for him to just kind of go at her. And he said, "That first beer you gave me, I really like that beer." I said, "Okay." He said, "Second beer you gave me, I love that beer."
All right.
And she said he just kind of it's just like all the gruffness just kind of shed off, and he became this friendly old grandpa. And she started talking to him, and he tried a couple other things, and he was cashing out. And he said, "Now I want to tell you,
I'm Santa Claus."
No, John Cena, actually. He said that he goes, "I'm still Coors Light drinker, but I can say I like craft beer."
Yeah.
And he's been in, and he comes
One at a
in.
time.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's all about. It's being willing and being open to let people come in and give it a try, and recognize that it's all about taste. And every single style out there is not for everybody.
Right.
Simple as that. And to give anybody a hard time about what they do like, what they don't like, it's a bunch of garbage. Let people explore. Don't make it. You don't make it intimidating. And one by one, people are going to come in and look at it because it is a better product. It's a better price. You get the chance to support somebody who's simply trying to pay their bills or pay for their those kids' dance classes or whatever. And it's a mom and pop shop stuff, and
I think it's what Ashboro needs.
it's what Ashburn. It's what every community needs.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's because it's this the connection that we see there is it. That's what drives us. Our mission is great beer for great people, and it starts with Andrew and everything that he does, and putting out a spectacular product, a superior product. But that great people part comes in with the people that we have, like Matt, who day in and day out. Actually, the other one down that tap room. I'm not talking about you.
I was like, did Coro come in?
Day in and day out, doing his thing to spread the word of Four Saints and being able to support great organizations and pour beer for great people. I mean, they go back and forth, and without that, it's just a product, and that's not what we're about. We're about a whole lot more than that. So I'm gonna get teary-eyed if I keep going.
It's legit. It's legit an experience.
Yeah. What's that? I'll start pitching myself.
He's been singing y'all's praises.
Yeah.
for
I've been
longest
trying to
time.
get these guys to come to
He will not shut up
about you. Yeah. I love it. We're going to go to Ashboro.
Yeah.
Gonna be a little warmer.
That's right. You hit up the zoo.
That's right.
Hit up the zoo. You go out
Randomly,
there.
I moved to Ashboro, and it was. So I had a hookup there. It's like I didn't. Yeah, I don't hear that very often. I had somebody that had land in a place, so I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. And I always liked Ashboro. Like, it was quiet.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool. It was chill. And that was when it was dry.
Right.
So I said, okay, there's got to be a bar around here, aside from the other shit.
Right, from the other side. Yeah, I got you.
So, and there's only one ABC store.
There is. There's only one ABC store in Ashboro. There used to not be.
Yes.
There's only one up in Randleman.
And it's on the same street.
It's on the same street. Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah, the one in the ABC store in Randleman was one of the top ones in the state. And then they opened up. It was.
Sure.
Well, because
Sure
they were servicing a whole. I mean, essentially a whole county. It wasn't just the city; it was that whole county. And then, I mean, yeah.
When I was far of a drive.
Well, when I moved to Ashboro, it was 2004, and I didn't realize that it was dry. I came down for a teaching interview. Right, so I got into school and I'm doing the interview and I'm walking down the principal's walking down the hallway and she's like, "Here's the second grade hallway and there's the computer lab. Ashboro's a dry dry city." And she stopped dead in the middle of the hall and she said, "Did you hear what I said?" I was like, "Yeah, that's a computer lab. It's where kids play with a keyboard."
That's where they play workouts too, right?
Right. And Montezuma's right. So she said, "No, Ashboro's a dry city." She said, "Do you know what that means?" I said, "Yeah, it means I can't buy alcohol here."
Right.
And she said, "Dude, is that a problem?" And then, like, half of my brain needed a job. I was like, "You say no, this is not a problem." 25-year-old me was like, "Hell yes, that's a problem." And it was people went up to Randleman. They, you couldn't sit down and have a drink at a restaurant. You could only do off premise. And so they had the ABC store and the grocery stores had the beer and the wine. And so it was just you had to plan. And it was very similar to Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania, once the beer distributors closed, and you could only buy by the case. Once they closed a Saturday at 8 p.m., you weren't going out and getting beer from anywhere.
Right.
And so you had to, beer stores closed at 8, and the ABC store that had the wine and the liquor closed at 9. And so after that, you were out of luck, unless you went to a place called Chicken Charlie's that sold a 6-pack for $25. I've been desperate enough to do that. So
let's go to the previous.
I've been to Donuts Club where they sell beer and do that.
I don't think there is one in Ashboro.
Nope.
Well, that's
It's not on Google Maps.
Fair
enough.
So,
tell them about the Kickstarter with the mugs.
Oh, the mugs. Yeah, with
fucking mug. I get excited, man. It was the first thing I saw when I walked in there.
Oh, the Kickstarter. Oh,
You want to get Mug Club?
the mug club, yeah. So
How do I get one of those?
You
can't.
You can't. Well, you can. There's a way to do it. It just so we went up with Kickstarter. There's award levels and and backer reward levels. And so we wanted to do a mug club. And so looking around, there's mug clubs in all kinds of different places. And they use glass, they use those steel metal ones. And we want to do something a little bit different. And Randolph County is well known for pottery. Okay. And so we got to know a couple potters, and we said, well, why don't we do pottery mugs? And so we got introduced to one potter who was interested and went and tried out some beer. He said, "Yeah, I'll make you some mugs. How many do you want?" I said, 100. He goes, "I ain't gonna make you 100. I'll make you 10." Go talk to this guy. And so we went, okay. And so, we make the next appointment and we go to the next potter and do the same thing, test out some beer, talk a little bit. He said, "I'll make you some mugs. How many?" We're like, "We need 90. He goes, "I'm not doing 90. I'll do 70. And so basically we were just walking there. At one point, a potter, one of the potters who heard what we were doing and how we were going potter by potter, basically said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to get you a bunch of potters in one place. You bring some beer, get them drunk, and then you should have all the mugs you need." So sure enough, all the pot. Yeah. So we got them around and mugs. And so it was like this auction. Like, "I'll do 5, I'll do 6, I'll do 2," and then
That's so cool.
So we ended up.
But it's all local.
There.
I'm responsible for nothing.
I'm thinking about it. But we ended up with about 160 mugs at the end of it. And then for Kickstarter, about 60 of them were picked up through Kickstarter. And people had the option to, depending on what level, they could come in and either their mug was randomly chosen for them, or they could actually pick a mug. And so there's potters in that initial group, some that are internationally known, like Ben Owens and Bulldog Pottery, and then there's some just that were just starting out. And then the rest of the mugs we put up for by the time we started to get open, we were about 2 months out from being open, and there were people like, I didn't realize you guys had mugs, and so we put them up for sale. People snagged them up.
I was late to the party, man.
You were a little bit late to the party, and so we had these mugs. And so when you go down there and you go behind the bar, there's all these different style mugs, and so each mug has a number. Each number has an owner. When they come in, they can choose to drink out of their mug. And what we do every anniversary, which we got one coming, our next anniversary is coming up first weekend of May. So May 5th will be the next auction. May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. We do a live auction. Okay. So we put up, we contact.
They like high five.
Well, it's May the 5th. I mean, what else would you do there? And so we contact some different potters that we don't have on the wall yet, and we do a live auction, and proceeds go to the our local soup kitchen, our Randolph County Honor Guard, which is a veterans volunteer organization that goes all over the state providing last rites to North Carolina veterans. Okay. They do it all on their own. And then our Family Crisis Center. So we do these mugs come out. It's the one time a year that you can have a possibility of getting one. We've had mugs go for anywhere from $175 was when the cheaper ones went. The most expensive one went for almost $650, and it's just a live auction. We have an actual auctioneer come in and do it. I did the auctioning. I was the auctioneer for the first year, and that is one of the most stressful things I've ever done.
I was worried. I thought you were about to say $650,000.
No. I wouldn't be here.
Whatever.
If I had $650,000.
I would love to just go to the bar and say, yeah, number 31. Yeah. And then you just fill it up with my beer. Yes. Number 6.
Why
You wouldn't have
31?
you wouldn't have to. They'd roll out the red carpet in front of you. And you just be like, I wear red socks, so everywhere I go.
It would be cool to have a mug contest.
Rent a
Something different. So how did you get involved with Four Saints, man?
So I met Joel and Andrew through a mutual friend, and it all goes back to education. So I used to teach, and then a local speech pathologist that was at a school with us knew he worked with the same school system. Okay. So he reached out to me and said, hey, because he knows I like drinking beer. He's like, hey, there's some guys that are going to do something in Ashburn. It's going to be a pretty big thing that happens for the town. It's like, are you willing to meet up with them? Come over to our house. We'll just drink some beer. So like, yeah, absolutely. Sure. So went over to his house, and Joel and Andrew were both there. And I think they had a 6-pack. My wife and I went over, and we just tasted a bunch of different beer, tasted all 6 different beers, and just sat there and talked. Yeah. And it was a mission statement about, hey, this is what we believe in. This is why we're here. And this is what our goals are going to be. And we left that night, and I told my wife we were going on vacation that next day. So like we had a nice 4-hour drive. I'm like,
plenty to talk
that was
about.
really good. It's like, that's really all I want to drink. It was a really good time. And I got up with Joel after that, and I said, all right, I'm in, and I want to host something. So I hosted a tasting, and I cooked. So I did nothing but beer pairing. I did a sweet and savory meal with like 7 beers.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So there were 7 beers out there, and it was. I'm sorry. I've been on the road. You don't want what I'm cooking right now. I promise. I promise you don't want what I'm cooking right now.
This guy can cook.
I'm expecting out of Are you going to expand? Any
Well, let's Matt finish his story here.
Everybody sat around, and it was one of those things where it was ground pounding. So I reached out to guys that I was working with. I worked at that point. I was working for Randolph County, so I was within the grips of the evil management, whatever. Yeah. But I had plenty of contacts there, and I said, well, hey, look, this is what the plan is. This is what we're going to do. I said, come over, let me feed you and give you beer. and I didn't have anyone turn that offer down. Luckily, I had no one turn that offer down, but
Couldn't imagine.
no. And then and kind of after that, I started tagging along, and I would go to some of the Kickstarter events that Joel and Andrew were putting on, and it was like, all right, we're going to go out here. And I would go out and take pictures and just send a bunch of photo stuff, and pretty much sat down and not long after that, and told them, I said, when you need help, whatever point that is, if you don't let me know, I'm really going to be angry at you.
Right. Which meant he was going to burn something.
I was going to set something on fire, burn something, whichever way. But no, and so it'll be 3 years for me this July, and it's been nonstop ever since I came on board. Joel reached out and said, well, hey, look, we need a delivery driver. So I came on and I started doing just deliveries. And it got to a point where I was, heading out, trying with Charlotte, hitting up accounts, picking up kegs, learning the ropes.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing opportunity. I said, well, hey, we're not on tap at X, Y, or Z. Why? Right. Joel said, well, if you got time, stop by and talk to him. So I look like I work for a brewery. I'm already, I do. Like people come up and they're like, you must be the brewer. I'm like, no, I promise I'm not.
I'm here for the Mandy Spec.
That's right. That's the, and if I don't have sparkle tint this time, I swear to God, it's going to be over. I don't care how nice the massage chair is. What's up?
Hot stone.
That's right.
Hot stone.
That's right. Get the wax treatment on the feet.
Wax treatment.
But no, and that's kind of where it started. So that was maybe a year in. I started reaching out.
Yep. And a year in, and then this past March,
partial, like 3 days a week. I was out doing sales. I would do delivery Sundays, and then I had another. It was a split schedule. And then starting back in November, it was 100% full-time sales. So we got some. We had a couple interviews. We have a new driver that came on. I worked with him one day. Joel worked with him one day, and we had a guy in our tap room that would help sort of fill in whenever need arose to make deliveries happen. So he worked with all three of us. He's killing it right now. So it's been a really, really fast 3 years. It's been a really fast, almost 2.5 years.
Well, that dinner, the dinner pairing that he did, the beer, food, spaghetti. Still, I was really disappointed. I was just,
5 plates of pasta.
We should name a beer just Sketty.
Sketty policy.
You heard it first, guys.
Sketty handshake.
Still, there's one of those things. One of the pairings he did still to this day. It's one of those things. You've had it and you're always searching for it.
Rum barrel stout?
No. The rum barrel stout. I almost brought one of those. I got one left. I know. It was with our amber ale, and he did a little crostini with fresh basil, strawberry, and mascarpone. That the food itself was good.
Yeah.
But paired with the beer, still to this day is one of the best things I've ever eaten.
When is this going to happen?
Everybody needs to just close their eyes and imagine your house.
You got it.
Trust me, we can do it.
I kept the exact menu layout, so I know exactly what we serve.
You let us know.
That sounds like we need to do a
the whole 9 yards.
podcast at Four Saints sometime.
Yeah.
Go to the zoo.
After the zoo. Only if the fucking lions are out.
Swear to God.
If they're in the shade.
Didn't Greg escape?
No, that wasn't. No.
There was a Caswell County.
Yeah. They used the term "sue" there loosely.
Yeah.
I heard that. I'm laughing at it.
Stop laughing. Somebody's life was taken.
No, but I mean, like, when does that happen in real?
He's falling in line.
Well, no, this one, they had it.
He was actually college educated.
Apparently it got out.
They got out,
I thought you said the lion got out. And
because I saw that the first time I
Oh,
saw
and
that.
like they're walking down the street.
No.
And they get taken out by a fucking lion.
It's on a bird scooter.
That's how the line goes.
Biggest lawsuit ever. I was on your bird scooter and it was attracted to the bird scooter. The lion chased me down. The lion got me. Imagine showing up to heaven today.
Why do you have a bird scooter with you? So,
I want to sit down for this.
Well, let's try.
So what happened was,
This is what happened. Yeah, let's get a beer taste.
all right. So, well, I think Matthew wants to start with this one. You want to start with this one?
What is it? All of this?
Dealer's choice.
You want to start with this? You know what that?
new?
No, this is actually a year old. So
You want to come sit here? Come on.
He's like Dr. Claw from fucking Inspector.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to sit in the back.
Save it sitting back there. We don't know why he's
my
not
my
over here
wife
with
would be
us.
very happy with that hat right now. She's a Browns fan.
I'm not happy with that.
No one's happy with the Browns fan.
Oh, Baker Mayfield. He knows what's going on. What's that? No, we'll start with this one.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
All right, so this beer is called the Beam, and it is.
For our fans out here.
Give it to them.
Right when you think it's
So this is called the Beam. It's a craft ale. So this beer was inspired by the Dark Tower series by Stephen King.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so the Gunslinger, that whole storyline. So in the book, The Gunslinger, they drink. In the town of Ludd, they drink a grap, and the basic description is that it's an apple beer. Okay. So I want to go ahead and put this out there that we did this before Reds was a thing, right? So I just want to put it out there.
Sell that shit.
I know I'm kind of giving you the eye, Daniel. I just want to make sure, like, I hope not. So basically, what Andrew did was we got some local apple cider, and he brewed up some beer, and it was about almost a 50-50 mash mix, and then fermented it, and it was just.
What did I do?
Are we ready to play ball? I don't got the. Who's got the balls?
I just instinctively did that. I had no idea what was going on.
Very nice.
You're off. Man. You're off.
So we called it. It's a graph. It's based off of the Gunslinger series. We called it the Beam because in that whole story,
Shitty movie.
yeah, based off of that whole book, they're all following the Beam. The Beam is all about taking you to your destiny, where you're meant to be, and thank you. We need to get another one in here.
I'll get the hook up.
You guys just turned heads. Feel off. John Michael. What up, everyone?
Castle Clip Photography.
Passing around.
I am excited. I grew up in upstate New York, so we had apple cider.
It wasn't
everywhere.
great.
Apple cider. Now this is aged. Let's see. So we released this beer on the day the Gunslinger movie came out in theaters. Because Andrew is a huge fan of the Dark Tower series. I am. I think you. I'm not sure. Matt, were you at the Gunslinger series?
Not so much.
So it was Andrew and me. Everybody got some down
I was
there?
excited about it because I knew what was coming with
You
the
don't want
beer.
any?
but-
No. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Hello.
Cheers.
Clink.
Do you want to cap the
Yeah, I
hook?
There
want
we
to
go.
count the hook. I'll get in.
Yeah.
You hear the clock.
So this beer is over a year old. So it's aged.
It's like apple.
Yeah.
And with that,
but not so appley.
no,
Right.
no, that was.
And
And
I appreciate
enough.
Yeah.
It goes
appreciate
back
that,
and forth. Like
we're
every time I think the word apple, I taste apple. But other than that, it's just a nice crisp.
yeah, it's that was one of the things about this beer. It was really interesting because when we say craft ale, obviously that's according to the ABC, TTB, as long as you call it an ale or a beer or a stout or a lager, you can call it whatever. So you could call it a Matt ale. You know, you could call it
I've never heard craft before.
it's a made up word by Stephen King. And so, right, so it's a made up word by him. But as long as it says ale, they're like, it's okay. Because that ale part says enough that it's a beer. It's an alcoholic drink. Right?
Oh.
So that's how you
You're not
get.
trying to trick somebody.
Right, you're not trying to trick somebody.
The 51% of fermentables have to come from malt, and they're 49.
Yep.
Required by law.
Right.
It has to be X amount. Otherwise, you're getting into cider territory. The same thing is we could use up to 49% grape must if we wanted to in a beer, and then not call it a wine.
Right.
It would
You
still
don't
be
brew at all.
No, but I know enough.
He knows
of
beer.
it.
That man, he
I know
knows.
plenty
beer.
about beer. And I've made some really expensive vinegar before. If I'm in the kitchen, I'd rather cook than brew. And I enjoy baking, and brewing and baking is very similar, but I don't. It's not my forte.
That beer, we're actually getting ready. Andrew's got it on the docket. It's on the production. It's on the production list to do again. To get it to have a new batch of it because it's been over a year. So once that's ready, it'll be up all over our social medias and everything.
So it won't taste exactly like that.
No, it won't be aged. The apple will actually come out a little bit brighter, but again, it's not going to be like a cider.
It's not overpowering.
No, not at all.
Apple comes out
It's
bright.
very smooth.
And I would have to go back and check what the base beer was.
Right.
But
Delicious.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the percentage on
9.
9?
9.
That was 9?
That's 9%.
My God. Wow. That's
It's a party starter.
Yeah.
Or a party ender.
And it was really interesting.
I think there's one hotel. Hey, but you got the hookup though.
You got the hookup.
I got the hookup on land. Oh,
Camping. Bring your tents.
I understand.
All right, so
What's that?
No, your call, man.
That
You're down there. The one in the middle.
Call it Malcolm.
What?
It's going straight for the daily double.
Nice.
Schwartz beer. Oh, is that the short? That's what I have right here.
Yeah, right there.
All right.
George,
Oh, it is
really good. Give me something dark. I was grabbing black lager. You won't know the difference. And he
Look
tried
at this nigga right there.
This is amazing. Yeah. That's really good.
So what do we got? So what's this one right here?
You want to talk about Swiss beer?
Yeah, so it's it's German. It's black beer.
Okay.
What it stands for. So it's a traditional black lager. 5%.
Yeah.
Nice,
Anybody?
earthy, nutty,
He's got
toasty.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
pour right on in there.
nice and clean. Easy drinking beer. It's one of those where it's super sessionable. Works out with a lot of different foods.
So
This
It's
is
super
fresh.
fresh. Yeah.
No, I mean like how long have
how long
you
have you
been
been making it?
brewing this?
This is our second time brewing.
Yeah.
So we brewed it last fall.
Yep.
So darker beers tend to come out in the fall, winter time. It's just kind of how things
It is a
roll.
perfect fall beer.
But
So
yeah,
wait,
that
the Schwartz.
Schwartz.
Like as in
Exactly. Exactly.
so may the
same.
black be with you.
The door is over there.
All right, guys, I'll just
Jar.
The door, yes. Push.
Maybe that's what Mel Brooks was going for. This whole time, I don't know. But maybe that's the whole joke of Spaceballs. Maybe that's.
We need to do an.
Besides when they're combing the desert and they have the two black guys with the afro pick, that is still.
How about you?
Day.
So I vote we do an Imperial Schwartz beer and call it Ludicrous Speed.
I literally just came up with that.
Somebody write it down. I'm gonna make sure.
Okay, I figuratively just came up with that.
Thank you. You looked me in the eye when you said it, so I
Make sure there is a record of this.
We've gone black.
We've gone to black.
Sorry.
I think that's
So we do. So most of the beers that we do are ales. Ales.
So good.
They have a quicker turnaround time.
It's not as heavy as
So some of our ales are done within 7 days. Fermenting. Some take up to about 2 weeks, maybe 3. But lagers they take a long time, right? 3, 4, 5 weeks. So we try to. Andrew has worked it into the production schedule for us to have at least one lager on at all times. And part of that expansion process that we're looking at is to be able to have at least 1 or 2 fermenters that are dedicated to lagers.
Oh, nice.
Because there's so many out there. There's so many great lager styles that we just can't get into because it backs up our general production.
Right.
But to be able to have lager tanks, to be able to consistently have one on,
Would it be like just I'm not comparing the two of you, but
Sure.
I'm just saying.
I think you
So
are.
it-
But
No, I'm not. But because I don't like the place I'm about to say.
Oh,
But,
okay.
like the Wicked Weed Funkatorium. Would it be like a Funkatorium? Exactly. So would it be like just like a separate place
No. We would not. That wouldn't be a separate place. It would just be additional vessels, like the big silver fermenters. So there would just be 2 of them that were just dedicated strictly for lagering.
Okay.
Just because it takes a lot. Like right now we've got a Doppelbock that is fermenting, and it is coming up on almost 5 weeks fermenting. So what that does for us on that brewery side of things is it locks that fermenter up for 5 weeks.
Right.
So from an ale standpoint, Andrew could have gotten potentially 2 brews through that one fermenter. Having a lager there, it's just 1 beer. So it cuts down on production time, puts us behind on a couple of things to be able to say, this is a lager, this is a lager. We know that's going to take 4 weeks, that's going to take 4 weeks. And to plan that, it just, from his side of things, it'd make Andrew's life a whole lot easier because he excels at making lagers and ales. And his Schwarzbier is a perfect example. Nice and roasty, clean and crisp. It's fun to watch people come in a tap room. They'll try this one because it says dark lager, black lager, and they're like, "Oh, I like lagers. I'll try this." And they'll see someone drinking the stout, and they're like, "Well, that's the same color as this, so I guess I'll like that too." And it's something they wouldn't have tried at any.
It's
and it's totally different.
I mean, just smelling it,
It's totally different. And then they'll try to go like, "Wow,
nuttier."
So that's nuttier.
Nuttier is what he said.
He went nutty.
You wanted to hear it again?
He went the nutty route. It's always a fun one when you're describing a beer. Like, it's a little nutty. Like, I don't want to.
Nutty.
I've yet to have somebody like, could you explain nutty, please? Like, well, no, I don't want to.
No.
That's all you get.
No, I don't. Just take my word for it.
Let's keep going. I'm digging it.
Yeah, you gonna pass us some more cups?
I got your cups.
You got the cups?
I got your cups.
Cups. You got the cups.
Cups, yeah.
Cups.
That was a lot. I'm sorry.
It's all right. So there's the amber ale, the blonde. You want the blonde?
Dude, the only
So what course is that one?
There's a pot display here and a
That was
pot
a
display here.
That's what's on tap here tonight.
Yeah.
So
What percentage is it?
5%. 5%.
That's
Yeah.
right. Percentage.
These go back quicker.
Yes. So we're gonna do the Omi now
Do
because
that
that's
now.
like the big one, right? That's your.
We have
like
we have
go-to.
this on at Boxcar, and it
Nice.
flies off.
Yes. Yeah. So
Corey keeps it in there. He does that. He does the half as well.
Well, you should come join us.
So, yeah, so like everywhere I go in Greensboro, I say, "Do you have any Four Saints?" What Four Saints do you have?
We'll do that.
Last time I saw him at the
Yeah.
bar, I said, "Give me whatever Four Saints you have and whatever tokens you can get."
Yup. And I did both.
He did both
Welcome to Earth.
with a wink.
Wink and a smile.
that's fantastic.
So,
It's definitely the standard amount of coins.
What nights are big over at your spot? Like, what nights you guys have trivia? You know, I mean, what's kind of like the schedule over at your brewery?
So there's always stuff going on in the tap rooms. There's always stuff. And I'm less informed than the Matt that decided not to come hang out with us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
His name is Matt
You
Coro.
gotta bring the hooks.
Yeah,
That's right. They send the pretty one.
That's right. There you go.
No, the tap room stays nonstop. So I know we do live music a handful of different times throughout the week. It's always no charge, no cover. Come in, enjoy it. We have
Yeah, we get great people. And we do. So we run down together. We're open Tuesdays through Sundays. Tuesdays is always Taco Tuesdays. We've got a great local taco truck called Las Cebollitas.
Little Onions.
Little Onions, and they come in and they kill it. I mean, their burritos and their tortas are absolutely killing it. So they come in every Tuesday night. It's also Tabletop Tuesday. Wednesdays are that's our Devil's Advocate series. So we have a small batch series.
Okay.
Like this week, it's typically only 5 gallons or less. And once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Some of those beers make it to production on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Some of them you're never going to see again.
Wow.
And so, like this week, we actually have our German wheat, our Hefeweizen. We have that on nitro.
Okay.
We've never done a wheat beer on nitro before, so and there's people that absolutely they're loving it.
Right.
To me, I'm not a huge fan of it. I love the Hefeweizen itself, but on nitro, there's a lot of there's a whole lot. Yeah, and so with that, because of the nitro, there's more of those banana esters and more of those kind of bubblegum flavors come through. It's not for me. I want the CO2 version. There's people that are swearing by that nitro version now. So that's always big on Wednesdays. We do Irish music every first Wednesday. We got a run club. Trivia on Thursday nights is where things really start to pick up. We've got 3 guys, Shane, Travis. He does his own podcast called Brews, and Aaron. They've been coming. They work together. Last night was Friends, a TV show. Okay. Next week's General. The week after that is Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. Yeah, there's a guy. If you're into Star Wars, I want to see somebody else come down and challenge Mark. There's a guy named Mark Seal who comes in.
Yeah.
He sits. Mark Seal. Mark Seal comes in. And he sits. He has a Domino's pizza, Star Wars shirt on, a Genesis Belgian double, and he absolutely whoops everybody's ass. Like he doesn't have a team of 6 people. He's just himself, and he destroys.
He is the Death Star.
He's amazing. Like the first time he won, he just kind of raised his hand, and we were like, "Oh yeah, great." The next time he raised his hand, we were like, "Oh, that guy." The third time, we're like, "Mark,
Mark."
Anyway, so. And then Friday nights we do all kinds of different things. We have open mic. We did music bingo for the second time last week, and that went over way better than I expected. And music bingo. It's basically name that tune, but you've got a bingo card in front of you, and you just gotta. If you get bingo, you win. So we did the 60s, 70s. 1989 and 90s country. Specifically. Here's what we did with 1989. There were some songs that were from 1989, the year, and then there were other songs from Taylor Swift's 1989. So that was, so put that out there.
Blowing minds over here.
Wasn't me. My wife Kristen gave it. She gave the idea.
I'm glad it wasn't you.
If I had chosen, it would have been Ryan Adams' version of 1989, which is a whole lot sadder and depressing. But so then,
sad and depressing.
And so Saturdays we always have live music, and it's local, mostly local people. We've got music going on there tonight. Actually, is High Cotton. So it's a lady named Lisa Dames and Sean Patch is a fella. Lisa is a certified licensed Patsy Cline impersonator. And she's got an amazing voice.
How about that as your job title?
Right.
So how do you get a
certified license? Like I don't know, but she's got it. Like
I want to see that board.
Actually, what she do is you got to go for multiple nights in a row. Yeah, multiple nights in a row. You have to go walking after midnight. That's really what's going to happen. Do that enough times, certified, done. And then. And then
gets 12 stamps.
And then Sundays we do something called Saintly Sundays, and we pick a local organization. So this month is the Ashboro Arboretum, and our mayor is working to create one of Ashboro's first genuine green spaces using some historical land that dates back to like the 1700s. And so for every full pour that is bought, $1 goes to the Ashboro Arboretum.
Oh, wow.
Last month we did Hope Lodge, which is basically a home for cancer patients and their families during medical services. The month before that was our local AMVETS chapter. So we find somebody that is doing, again, great things in our community, and great beer for great people. Through our great beer, we're able to support these great organizations and the things that they're doing that are way beyond. I mean, we make beer.
Yeah.
Beer's fun. Beer's enjoyable. There's some people take it way too seriously.
Right.
There's people out there that are like doing stuff. Yeah. And so we want to be able to support them with what we do on a day to day.
See why I'm telling you guys to fucking come to hang out. Like this guy's real, man.
First of all, to clarify, it's not like we're like, no. Okay? It's just like, first of all, who's driving?
I'm not doing it.
Who's driving, where we're staying.
Who's driving and where are we staying?
You almost got us there with the axe throwing.
Oh, yeah. That's
We were
fantastic.
so close.
Yeah.
It's going to come back. That is a lot of fun.
I mean,
It is mobile. They're
just drove
based
right
on
up
a
and
triangle.
then
They're set up. And I can tell you what, when you throw your axe
Sounds like
the first
the
time, It does. It's the first time you throw axes, for the first 3 throws, you're gonna feel like the unmanliest man ever, because you're gonna be sure you're throwing it as hard as you should, and it's gonna hit broadside and bounce off. And then my 5-year-old comes over and she throws it and it sticks. So I'm like, I'm done. I got nothing. And it was worse when she just stared at me and just kind of like, I got you, Dad.
Do you guys still do the bring your own vinyl?
Yes, we do that every Sunday. You bring your own vinyl.
Bring your own vinyl.
There's some really cool stuff that comes through. I mean, it's so. We also work on every second Sunday. We work with the Fort, which is a pit bull rescue, and they do all kinds of animals. But they come in every second Sunday. They've got a couple pit bulls, and they'll bring them in. And the guy, his name's Jake Gardner. He's like their head trainer. And he actually was he was part of the whole program with the pit bulls and parolees. Okay. And so he comes in Asheboro. His wife's one of the veterinarians in Asheboro, and he brings these dogs in, and because of that, they probably had about, I don't want to exaggerate it, but at least 3 or 4 dogs that have been adopted by some of our patrons. Awesome. And right now, they got one right now named Cornelius Fudge that my wife wants.
I was a core service
terribly. And there's a dog that, like, its body is like this, and its head is like this. The dog's great. It's just not.
Bradley's changing it around. Get a timeshare in Asheboro. So that way we have somewhere to crash. Fuck the hotel. We're just get a timeshare in Asheboro.
I think the multi-pop spot.
There it is.
Multi-pop.
The multi-spot.
Based in Asheboro.
I think that sounds great. Let's do it. All right, so this is Omi. This is our blonde ale. It's one of our core beers. Initially, when we got started, our lightest beer was going to be a Hefeweizen. This would be our German wheat. And we realized very quickly that may have still been a step above what some people were used to or willing to try. And so Andrew developed the blonde recipe, as I mentioned earlier. Not too malty, not too hoppy, clean, crisp, straightforward beer. It's the right color for people. It's the right level of carbonation for people. So it's that gateway beer.
Yeah, it's easy and fun to drink.
Yeah, right. And so some people get hints of like strawberry esters on the back end. And so it works. This is Andrew's favorite beer to brew, because this beer, you can't hide anything in this beer. If you do it wrong, you're going to know. And so this is a beer that local other brewers, if we say we're coming to their area, they'll be like, hey, can you bring me some of that blonde? Because it's just straightforward. It's just, I hate to use that term, beer flavored beer, but this is beer. Right. Straight beer. Boom, done. And cheers. Now, the story behind the name. You already drank yours?
Yeah, I got it.
So the name of that beer comes from.
It's definitely beer.
It's definitely beer.
Yeah.
It's called Omi.
That's definitely beer.
Definitely beer.
I assure you.
The beer's named Omi after late 18th century Randolph County history. There was a young girl named Naomi Wise, and Naomi was a good girl of the county, and she liked to mess around with the bad boys of the county. And so she got mixed up with a guy named John.
I can never remember his last name.
Murder Bottle. I can't remember his name right now. Jonathan Lewis. We'll get to that one in a minute. And he got her pregnant. And so when he got her pregnant, he took her. The story is he took her down to the river and murdered her. And
We got a beer for you.
I'm gonna take it one step darker than that.
Go ahead.
So you just read the story. He got her pregnant, took her down the river. The story is he murdered her, and it became a part of Randolph County history to the point that up to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, kids at school would reenact. They would reenact the scene, and they would reenact the court case. Like, this was the oral history. Wow. This was part of it. It was so popular that, there's a song called Poor Omi Wise, It's based off of this story that happened in Randolph County, Randleman, North Carolina, and it's been covered by Bob Dylan, it's covered by Bob Skaggs, I can't remember.
Ashbrook.
Earl.
Oh, that's random.
Scruggs.
I think Earl Scruggs did
Yeah,
it.
so it's a song. You can look it up. It's out there, but it's based off of what happened in Randleman.
Okay,
And so
well, that's where the
Ant-
taste and the pairing should be.
And
Right by the lake.
Murder? Oh, we should do it down by a river.
Down by the river.
Down by the river.
There you go.
But what if someone
a band?
They'd be in a band.
So let's
They
do
make a
the
song
Murder
out
on the
of
River next. And so,
Yes.
so what we understand about from what we were told is that Omi was blonde. Okay. So we had the blonde ale, and actually Big Dan of 1111 Brewing, Big Dan's Brew Shed. He's from shout out Big Dan. He's from Ashboro, and he was like, the story is that she was a blonde. And we're like, done. Omi blonde and we're done. So the next beer that we're trying is
Was she blonde?
I don't know.
The story.
We're going with the
I hope
story.
so.
Yeah. I'm supposed to show this like this. Murder. There you go.
Murder on the River.
Murder on the River is an extension of that the Omi Wise story. So this is the blonde ale base, which you just had, and this is what we did with this beer is we took it and we aged it in Brett barrels. We aged it with some Brettanomyces. And the reason we did that is we have the blonde ale, which is clean and crisp, the Brettanomyces, which adds a little bit of a funk to it. It's not.
Red is.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's just a yeast. It's another yeast. It goes into beer, and whereas normal beer yeast, when I say normal ale versus lager yeast, it eats the sugar and it leaves a byproduct of a flavor. That's pretty much it. Brettanomyces, when it goes through a lot of Brett beers, people tend to misunderstand and they think, oh, that's going to be sour. Like, no, it's not. Brett typically will lend a little bit of funkiness, maybe a little bit of citrus. I love Brett beer that has really aged out. So like the flavor of Brett is super prominent in some. This, I think at this point, I brought this one tonight because I love this beer. It's your favorite. This is probably between this and the Saison are my two favorite beers that we make. And again, it's just because I'm a big Brett fan. But this is a little bit older. It's aged in there. Yeah,
The back and stuff like a heavy barnyard.
exactly. It's the strain of Brett that we use is much more approachable because if we were to come out the gate and do a super funky beer, it may or may not be a heavy hitter. People may or may not want that super barnyardy, funky. I love it. I love this beer.
I don't like most, but
And so the name from this one again, it goes back to that Omi story. So you got the blonde ale, and then you have the Brettanomyces, which adds in that bit of funk.
Right.
And the bit of funk comes from the fact that what we know about the story of Naomi Wise is that she got pregnant by Jonathan Lewis. She took her down to the river. Now, what actually happened at the river? There's actually two stories. Okay. And so the two stories are that he took her down to the river and said, Naomi, I love you. I'm going to change my ways. I want to raise this kid. I want to be the dad. And she completely refuted him and said, no, this isn't going to happen. And out of a kind of basically fit of rage and a struggle, it was an accidental murder. The other story is that he took her down the river to murder her to cover it up. Right? And so the fact is that those two what people know is that those two were down the river. What actually happened at the river, nobody knows. He was captured, escaped, was recaptured, and then acquitted of the murder.
what happens on the river stays on the river.
Apparently so. And so this whole idea, this murder, it's murder on the river.
Back then, it was a horse and carriage.
That's right. It's Tommy.
So that whole funkiness part is that whole fact you don't know what actually happened. We know the beginning, we know the end, and that's kind of what that Brettanomyces. When it goes in the barrel and the Brettanomyces gets in there, what's going to happen to that beer? We don't know, but we know how it goes in. We know how it's going to come out. But
That's a great.
that's it.
That is amazing.
That's really
You're
cool.
awesome story.
Yeah, so that's how we name beers from time to time. And sometimes we just start kind of
So how'd
throwing
you get
stuff
Four
out.
Saints?
And we get Four Saints. So we got Four Saints when we were in those garage conversations. There was Andrew, myself, a guy named Pete, who's still one of our bartenders, my friend named Jonathan, and Pete's one of those guys, when you start doing something, like he really digs into it. And so he started digging into this whole idea of beer and brewing. And he found there were 4 patron saints of beer and brewing. And with those 4 patron saints, it was just somebody was like, Four Saints Bottle Shop, Four Saints Brewery, Four Saints something. So that's got a good ring to it. So with some Google food, found out that there's at the time, there was nothing out there named Four Saints in the wine industry, in the liquor industry, in the beer industry, nowhere. The only thing that we could find in 2010 was an old play called Four Saints and Three Acts, and a quartet out of Detroit from the late 1950s called the Four Saints. That was it. And so
nobody's coming after you.
So, well, I mean, at that, there was 4 friends, there's 4 roses, there's 3 saints, there's 1 saint, there's all these things around it. And so, in this day and age, if you can find something that's genuinely unique, you grab it. So we did. We trademarked it.
And it makes sense.
And it's tough. It's tough. So at this point, the only other thing, because every once in a while, we look it up, and we've got the name Four Saints trademarked. And so every once in a while I look it up, and right now the only thing that I can find is over in I think it's Norway. There is a Four Saints Cafe.
Bastards.
That's it. No, I'm gonna do this and do a coffee beer with them at some point. Go international.
Put your beer in that cafe.
What's that?
Cafe is not an old fire station, so they got
So our 4 saints are St. Luke, St. Wenceslaus, St. Augustine, and St. Nicholas. And so our next saint coming up, Santa Claus. We just did his. Next one coming up is St. Luke. It's a honey ginger pale ale. It's an English pale base, local honey, local fresh ginger, and it'll be coming out in the spring. Actually, probably late February, early March. Yeah.
early March. You guys want to?
Comes up about 9% almost. There you go. So, but yeah, we do a beer for each of them, and we harken back to the whole point. So, like St. Luke, what we know about him is he was a doctor. So during his times being a doctor, it was herbs and roots and stuff. And that's honey and ginger have medicinal properties. And making a beer is the same as medicine was. You just mix a bunch of stuff up and put it together, and hopefully it makes you feel better. And that's beer.
That is beer. He gets sick. That's beer.
He makes it sound so easy.
Yeah, I know, right?
It does make you feel better. It's the same thing. So open the.
Any questions from anyone over there?
These are both.
There's a lot of shout-outs. Kristen Bullock says, what's up?
It's live. We got background.
Cappy. Hi, Cappy.
I see Craig.
Yeah, Craig. Shan says, what's up?
Basin.
Says hello.
Yeah, we got.
Look at that.
Bill texted me and he was like, I don't know shit about podcasting. How do I get you guys? Like, just go on Facebook. Hey, Bill.
What channel are you
He
on?
was like, stupid question.
channel are you on?
Yeah. So Mathers was the same shit.
Where do I bass my antenna?
Yeah. Mathers was the same way. So he was like, so when can I hear you? I said, whenever you want. He was like, no, like,
when do you want?
dude, it's not like a radio slot.
When does it
You
come
can
on
listen
there?
to us whenever you want. Like, it's not college radio from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Even though
We might get a better audience if we do.
It's a quiet storm.
Yeah. Christopher James Austin away.
So, you know what I don't see here?
What don't you see here?
Is Genesis.
Yeah, I didn't bring Genesis. I brought because the TBA was on tap.
Yes.
There was already Belgian on. We had Belgian already on tap here.
Genesis was the first beer I had when I walked in. How
fitting.
When I walked in there, I started talking to him immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit about it. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was the guy. I didn't know that was his spot. I was just like, hey, bartender, what would you recommend?
Actually, he was kind of like snapping you, like,
Did
bartender.
you snap at him?
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beer. this way. So he gave me the Genesis, and I fell in love. I fell in love with the Genesis, and then this couple walked in, and this guy walked in with this lady, and they looked like they were straight from Jersey. It was weird. This last
Jersey weird.
People from Jersey are weird.
My dad's from Jersey. What you saying?
He's kind of
Your
weird.
dad's cool.
He's cool as hell.
I like he's weird.
He's a good weird.
I mean, I'm his offspring, so
Yeah.
think what you mind.
I mean, is that a plus or a minus? I don't know. Like you're his offspring.
Are you questioning? On with your story.
Yes,
sir.
thank
Mush.
you.
Mush with your
At
story.
any rate, Genesis was the first beer I had. This Jersey couple walked in, and this guy's like, "Oh, what are you drinking?" And I said, "I'm drinking Genesis." Oh, I've never had that. I've never had anything in here. It's my first time here. So you know what? I told Joel, give this man a Genesis and put it on my tab.
Not only was it a shitty movie, I was
And
like,
drank it.
running out of it.
And that was our friendship.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of our friendship. Because he was like, yeah, I fuck with that.
So what happened to the Jersey guy?
I don't give a fuck with that.
All right.
Because that's not my nature.
Was his wife the one that got taken by the tiger?
So what do we got over here?
This is the Potter's Clay Amber Ale. So,
My Liam Neeson.
What's going on over here?
Tiger?
I don't know
We
anymore.
leave you alone for
The
a
lion thing is
I was telling a story about the
That's all you need to
Genesis.
know.
When I
That's all
gave
you
the
need
guy
to
the
fucking know.
Genesis, and we were like, he
The
did say
Rock,
that.
first of all, and second of all, The Rock.
I see what you did there.
It's in the
You're
building.
still wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely wrong. Definitely wrong.
point, you from Jersey or offspring?
Oh, speaking of, I started watching The Wire. Just thought y'all should know that.
Started watching The Wire?
You
Very
knew
good.
this, man. You knew this.
I've never watched The Wire.
Oh, thank you.
I know. I'm sorry. Judge me if you will.
Well, now when you watch it, it's going to be outdated, and you're not going to appreciate it.
No. That's
You know what pagers are.
no. Get out of here, man.
You know what payphones are?
What?
Yeah, a lot of people.
What are those?
Hey, as soon as I saw Michael B. Jordan in the first episode, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
my
but he
man,
was like 12.
who gives a shit? I know what he becomes. I know he's. Hey, when you
I
find
know what he becomes.
hey, when you find a Charmander, you know it's going to be a Charizard someday.
Count it.
Oh, now it's a high 10. I mean, what happens next? I mean,
You don't want to
High
say
ones.
that.
You know what
We're going to save that low.
You can share
In
it
the
out.
brewery. Starting for Four Saints.
They go behind closed quarters every night as well.
I'm imagining some kind of like Men in Black, like fist, like hands, like, you know.
It involves food.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
I think it involves some
Potter's Clay.
food.
Yeah.
What is this? Potter's Clay.
I hope.
Potter's Clay.
Potter's Clay.
I'm not sure what kind of food
I'm
we
looking
wanna
for the
have
tracks that we
there.
fill. Let's move on organically.
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 So, awkward silence.
Awkward silence?
And back again.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So this is Potter's Clay. It's our amber ale. It's one of our year rounds. It's our again malty caramel, a little bit of a hop bite on the back end. It's not a traditional American amber because of that little bit of a hop bite. Basically, Andrew put together the recipe that he wanted for an amber ale. And that's one of those beautiful things about beer. Just like any type of chef or anybody who's creative, you can have an amber ale, but once you start looking at different brewers, you start looking at different chefs, you start looking at different equipment, you're going to get different resonations of that same concept. And so this is easily, again, one of our best sellers at the brewery. It's a staple around distribution, and while it's got that malty caramelness, it's nice and clean. And it's that next step up. And this is, again, a good lead into things like Genesis or the Bitter Brothers, which are Irish Red, or the things that are a little more funky and a little bit strong. But it's based off of the fact that when we pulled off the first time we brewed it, the first time we pulled off the wort, we looked at that color and it reminded us of that red clay of Randolph County.
Gotcha.
And that red clay is what built that potter's community and that potter's reputation. And a potter, much like a brewer, very similar mindsets, concerned with the artisanal things, the basics, do it right, do it well, but also concerned with that artistic aspect of be creative, have some fun, get a little wild sometimes. And so we decided to pay homage to Randolph County by calling it Potter's Clay. So Cheers.
Hey, you. Drink.
Cheers, cheers. I'm sorry.
Cheers. It's not a shot, bro. Oh, are you?
We've got people that those like Omi and the Potter's Clay that this is the beer they swear by. You know, they'll come in and they'll try one of our limiteds, one of our seasonals, one of our one-offs, and they'll enjoy it.
Letting it fill every inch.
But they come back to those two, just time and time and time again. And I do myself. I think this is between this and our stout. Those are one of my two favorite beers that we do.
I want to try the stout.
Yeah, the stout is our stout one is fantastic. It's 5.4%. It's not too heavy, but it's got some great chocolate, great coffee flavors. But it can be drunk any time of year.
How'd the yoga pants go?
Yoga pants went like yoga pants should. It just went
Tight.
It took off. Yeah, it took off. You see what he did?
It took off.
He's the new member.
Oh my God.
He's a hip hop head too.
Yeah?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, what do you got?
He just gets jobs by talking.
It's what he does, right?
I'm a hip hop head. Deep down, that's like we were talking.
What's your go-to?
Tribe, Far Side, UGK, Ghetto Boys. Just talking about
We
them,
talked
but like
earlier about trying to get beers named after Four Saints.
I want to do a series of beers, like all of the Fonta Flora based off of Tribe Called Quest. It's like I want to do all of the insults from your mama. Return Far Side. Great rock at the Far Side. Like, how fat is she? Your mama is so big, in fact, that she could get busy with 22 burritos. It's time to rock. Saw her in the back of Taco Bell with handcuffs. Sad fact. Your mama smokes. Yeah, so that's my go-to. I'm a big fan of like old school lyrical hip hop. I like the Roots. I like those guys a lot.
He hasn't done it all. He hasn't done it a lot recently, but there was a time that he'd be driving and he put some music on. He would just lip sync to it.
Yep.
And that is entertainment. Entertainment.
We should do that for an event. Do like lip sync. Do lip sync battles.
Sometimes I use my voice. Sometimes I use my voice.
Ones I've seen.
I'm just mouthing.
You're mouthing.
You're mouthing. I'm
And
mouthing.
it's on Facebook Live. You're just sitting there like,
I'm sitting there. I'm like, you're driving with me.
Sounds fun.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes.
bro, I want to try this barrel aged.
All right, barrel aged.
It's
Yeah,
not the same thing.
this is
barrel aged.
barrel aged.
I'm sorry. I did.
He ready? He cheated. We can drink this before they all get back. I mean, like, they all left us. Like, do you guys want to? I mean, we can take that challenge. We can take the bourbon barrel challenge while they're all gone. You know, just kind of teased out. Yeah, just make it happen. Oh, Daniel's back. We can't do it.
Oh, Daniel's back.
Daniel's back. So, barrel aged Potter's Clays. We took the amber ale and simply put it in a bourbon barrel. It was a second use. It's actually the second beer from a barrel that we bottled. That's a tongue twister right there. Yeah, it is. So on any of our beers that we barrel, on the label, you'll see there's a number that's kind of ghosted behind it. And so that number indicates which number beer has been barreled. So this was the second beer that we ever barreled right here. So this bottle was actually this beer was bottled in 2016. So it's over 2 years old now.
And it's been what, 6 months?
6 months in a second use imperial stout. So we aged an imperial stout in a bourbon barrel. Once it was finished, we took the Potter's Clay, put it into the barrel, let it age 6 months, and this is the result here. We actually just down at the tap room this past week. We have one keg of it left, and we put it on tap. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
I don't think I've ever had a bourbon barrel aged amber.
you're about to.
And one of the good things about y'all is when y'all do barrel aging, it's not like you're pouring a shot of
No, they're
into
aged
beer.
right.
Like
It's
it's
balance.
resting.
Yeah,
It's
the
a good
balance.
blend.
And that's the whole point. Like, and that's all Andrew. Like, there's two tenants.
Take some credit here. You're good.
Well, there's two tenants.
Oh, I'm gonna give him his credit in a second. I'm gonna ask him about.
It'll make it work.
Yeah, right. There's two tenants that Andrew really harkens to when it comes to beer. And one, if he says, when we
Smell, take a whiff, man. For real.
What kind of barrel
This
is
is really
it?
smell.
what's that?
What kind of barrel is it?
It was bourbon barrel.
Was it Heaven,
Bourbon
I think
barrel.
this was Heaven Hill.
Heaven Hill or Four Roses.
I would say I
wow.
use this Four Roses. I think.
So, what's that? There used to be, but now there's cooperage brokers, and so basically there's guys that go out and they'll go to the distilleries.
No, that guy right behind you.
They got him.
They'll go to the distilleries and they'll buy huge swaths of them because the distilleries just want to get rid of them. And so it used to be buy 1, buy 5, buy 15. And so these Cooper's brokers go out and they'll say, we want all 500. And the Cooper's brokers bring in the 500. The distilleries don't have to deal with them anymore. And now it's up to the Cooper's brokers. They made themselves middlemen. It was a genius business idea. Yeah, it's fantastic because now the distilleries get rid of them, they sell them, and now they've got different brokers that are competing. So there's a price competition. We've got a couple of brokers. They send us our list. They send us a list, and we go, we want those, and sometimes we're too late. Sometimes the price is too high, but there's things that we've got to do. So. But what we do with Andrew, there's two things he likes to do is if the beer says it has a particular flavor, we want to be able to taste that flavor.
Yeah.
There's too many times a beer says it's this, and you taste the beer and you're like, I don't get it. Right? So there's that part of it. And the second part of it is Andrew's all about balance. There's beers that are stylistically are supposed to be extremely hot, and that's hop is it. And there's beers that are supposed to be extremely malty, but in that you still got to get that other piece. If it's a very hoppy beer, you still need to get that malt presence in there. If it's a very malty beer, you still need to notice that little bit of a hop because it's part of the process. It's one of those ingredients, and so he's very focused on a balanced beer. And with our bourbon, with our barrel aging process, it's one of the things he's very cognizant of. Is one to make sure that it's not like a shot of whiskey bashing you over the head, but you can taste that base beer that's in there and how it plays with that oakiness, that bourbon, that vanilla, and all that roastiness.
That's a very important.
That's a real tough thing for barrel agents to do.
It is.
You might have said this already.
It's just, like you said, bashing you over the head.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was
It's
the
like
beer that was in it?
taking a shot.
In the barrel?
And the beer that was in it before was our Imperial Stout.
Okay.
So it was we got fresh barrels in,
Bourbon barrels.
fresh bourbon barrels in.
You brewed Imperial in there.
Put the Imperial in it, let it age. Brought the Imperial out, and then put the Potter's Clay in. Right. And so usually out of our barrels, we'll get 2 lives out of them, sometimes 3. Once you get to that third life, things really start to deaden. But every once in a while, we get lucky, and there's a barrel that's, once that second beer comes off, we're like, wow, there's still something left in this, and we'll try it again.
Wow.
But after 3 lives, there's really not much left. And at that point, we sell those barrels
You
off.
get donated barrels?
No,
Not at
no.
all. Not nice.
Barrels are gold right
You
now.
gotta pay for them.
Yeah. Those you got to pay for. So this is a
Barrel
barrel
aged.
aged Potter's Clay.
And there's lots of crazy stuff that can happen with barrels too. So you not knowing and having someone that handles them professionally. You could have any sort of little bacteria or anything growing in a barrel. If it sits long enough or it's in the wrong conditions or whatever, there could be a ton of crazy stuff that goes on there. But with
You have these bottles in house?
No, this is.
I mean, if you pay $650 for a mug, I'm
So here, I'll give you this.
no shit.
I had 2 bottles of this in the house. Okay. So now I have 1.
Wow.
For us?
Thank you.
Yeah.
now these are
Not you.
I want to give Joel the credit on
I'm the
this.
important one.
Talking about giving Joel credit. So we did this event out at was it Barber Park?
Yeah.
That one
Oh
day.
yeah.
So
Disc golf course.
it was not a very well run event. But we were out there and Joe had these things like anyone kegs get
Oh, it's not about ice
weather.
score. Yep.
Joe has created a bag that keeps your kegs cool. So for anybody that likes to have keg parties outside, if you don't have trash cans,
Yeah.
so explain what you have invented.
All right. So it's called iceless pour, and there's it came from a frustrating day I was actually out in Pinehurst doing an event. And so I got down to the event. The organizer said, "We got ice. Come on down, serve beer." I got down there. It's an event happening end of July, so it's already 99 degrees. I get there. I set up the tent, got the beer out. They give me the ice that they have because I didn't come with any ice.
Here's
And so that is it. That's what, I didn't realize that it was a capital T-H-E. I thought it was all lowercase.
Nice.
Here it is.
And I read the as like for now. Like there's more. There wasn't. So I get there. And I set up our tent, and I put the beer in. I put the beer in the bins, put the ice around. I set up. By the time I get set up, which is takes about 40 minutes, the ice is already melted, right? So even under the shade, it's extraordinarily hot. So I asked one of the organizers, I said, "Hey, I need some more ice," and they went,
Yeah, about that.
There's a gas station about 15 miles down the road. And I'm like, I'm the only one here. If I leave, it can't happen. So the whole day, I'm pouring beer best I can. Our jockey box has got ice in it, so I'm hoping that the cool plate in there will keep it cold. And I'm pouring beer, and it's just foam. Like I've got a pitcher, and it's just foam. And the line it's 30 deep the entire time. It was a bigger event than even the organizers realized it was going to be. And so people are getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated because I'm getting these pitchers full of foam, which that's dollars. It's flat out dollars. So wasted beer. I get in. I pour through all my beer within like 3 hours, which is ridiculous. The event was a 7-hour event. And so I'm driving home, and I'm like, there's like infomercial moment. It's like, there's got to be a better way. And so there's a company in Asheboro called Vesture. And what Vesture does is they focus on it comes in like a little medicine bottle.
Wow.
So you want to try the stout?
Oh, you got some stout? Look at you!
Wow.
Ask and you shall receive.
So hard.
This is why we're the Saints. You know.
You throw your own
That's
patrons.
a good name.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good name.
So
Look at that.
so this company
Asking you shall
Vesture.
receive. He's like, well, fuck, I can't.
I feel so. This is what I used to carry around for sales. Do tastings and stuff.
And it's sold. Yeah.
It's sold.
Try it.
That's right.
Try this.
Try this. Infomercial.
Wow.
And so there's a company in Asheboro called Vesture, and what Vesture does is they focus on environmentally friendly temperature control. Right, that's the long and short of it. And so they've got this product called phase change. And what phase change is, if you take the concept of like butter or chocolate at the proper temperature is a solid because it's absorbed. It doesn't have any heat energy in it. If it starts to warm up, it melts. Once it melts, it starts to cool off. It becomes that solid again. So it absorbs heat energy. It releases heat energy. Basically, is what it does. And so, all around they have these sheets that are commercial insulation or residential insulation. And so, at our tap room, we have our walls. Behind our walls is this insulation. Our tap room set at 77 degrees. So if the temperature gets above 77 degrees, our walls, our ceilings start to absorb heat energy in order to keep our temperature at a static 77. Right. Now, once it drops below 77, it starts to release that heat energy.
Okay.
All right. So it's places that have over 75% coverage with this find a energy savings cost of anywhere from 30 to 50%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh shit!
Ring out. And so I'm driving. As I'm driving home, I'm like, how can we control this temperature? You know, there's keg koozies out there, but you know, a can koozie, all it does is just slow down the warming process. How can we keep things like cold without it knowing it's going to warm up? And so Vestricore,
You knew that about your installation?
What? Well,
You knew that installation did that in your spot.
well, I'm thinking just like with the can. I was like, oh, we just need to get some keg koozies. The keg koozies are out there.
Right.
But when you put a koozie around a can, all it does is just slow down the warming process. It doesn't keep it cold. Because even if you set a can down with a koozie on it, you sit it there for 45 minutes, you go and get it, that beer's warm. Yeah. Instead of it taking 30 minutes, it took 45. Right? So I was like, how do we make this cold all the time? And so I thought about Vestricore phase change. It's like, they can do it one way. I wonder if they can do it the other way. And so Byron Owens, who's the owner of the company, I'd worked with, he sold us the stuff for a tap room, and he and I are part of the same Rotary group. And I said, one morning I said, I got an idea. And I set him down and I drew it out and I said, we have kegs. Kegs come out at 33, 34 degrees. Can phase change keep these kegs at 33 to 34 degrees for an extended period of time? And he went, yep. And I said, how do you know that? And so this phase change can be set at different temperatures. They've set it super high to keep things hot. They've set it super cold to keep things cold. And so they developed they designed this sleeve. It's just like it looks like a keg koozie. Right. It's filled with the phase change material. And we take that and we put it in our walk-in. It lives in our walk-in for a couple of days, right? And we just keep it in our walk-in all the time, so they're just ready to grab. You can put it in a freezer overnight. When you take that keg out of the walk-in, put it in the sleeve, guaranteed, at least 10 hours, the temperature of that beer does not go up 1 degree.
10 hours. We've had it out here. We used them out here for an event a while back. And
10 hours, and that we're talking
dead center sunlight.
Dead center sunlight.
On asphalt.
We're talking on asphalt. We're talking. You're talking we're talking indoor event, outdoor event.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, if there's anybody that listens to this and wants them, I can sell them to you right now. But it solves this problem. Like going. Because the idea was, again, there's this idea that I went to this event, there was supposed to be iced, it wasn't iced, and it was losing money for me, right? And fortunately, there were people that were disappointed, but they were okay with it. But if you go to any beer festival, if you look at a beer festival, something like Summertime Brews Fest, the amount of money that is spent on just ice, which is completely disposable. Once it melts, it's gone. There's nothing. You're spending money on nothing, right? And when you talk about this ice, and again, from experience, if somebody's got a busted top, or they got a leaky jockey box, or anything else, and that water starts to go across that, whether you're outside and creates a little mud pit, or it goes across that concrete, creates a slip hazard. These jackets, these sleeves, create zero condensation the entire time. Zero condensation.
Keeps them. That's a booth in itself.
It's absolute, and it keeps them cold. And the beauty of it is, I took it out
cold the duration of the show
for the whole thing. Now here's the other bonus is, and we did this out in Raleigh. But wait, there's more. Yeah, it's an infomercial, right?
It's nice. It's too.
It makes your shirts whiter. We did Broogaloo out in Raleigh, which if you ever been to Broogaloo, it's amazing. They shut down downtown Raleigh, and it's a big beer and food truck festival. Like, you're sitting there drinking, and there's the state capitol in front of you. And so we took our beer there, and we had the sleeves. I only took 3 sleeves with me. The rest of our beer was on a reefer truck, so it was being kept cold. And so it was only once we got there, I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, I'm going to take this empty keg out. I'm going to put this new keg in. This keg's going to get warm. Well, since that beer was sitting at 33 degrees, when it was put into a sleeve that was sort of spent, it started to recharge the sleeve.
Went from 6 back to midnight.
Yeah, and it didn't fully. It didn't.
Yeah, you're good.
It is good.
You're good. You're solidified. It turns sour again.
So it doesn't give it a full recharge, but I put 3 half barrels in that thing, and by the end of the night, that's a 2 to 10 event, dead summer event, and I had people coming up to us time and time again going, "You guys have the coldest beer here." Now, craft beer, coldest beer isn't the best thing, but it's where you want it to start, especially on a hot day, because it's going to warm up quick, and that's when the flavors come out, right? So, Isospores it's and from the experience of talking to other breweries, it's a disruptor. People they look at us and they're like, no, we have to use ice. No, you don't have to use ice. You can put your kegs in these bags and you're golden for the day.
At the beginning.
At the beginning of the day, and you're done. Because it is. We load up, put them in the kegs. We drive an hour and a half to the event, set up for the event, and the entire time that beer is the same temperature as what we left.
That's great. So this is something that you sell.
Yes.
So you have a.
We can sell them right now. You want one? You want one? I can sell you one.
Yeah, I kind of want one.
I'll tell you what. From a party standpoint, you get an ISO sleeve and you get a CO2 pour tap.
Okay.
You're done. That's it. That's your party. That's your party. That's your party right there.
What is this at 98? Little sidebar: if y'all don't have a beer called From 6 to Midnight, pretty soon.
Yeah, he did that. He did that right here.
Well, we got 2 names so far. What do we got? We got
Sketty agreements.
Sketty policy.
Sketty.
What was the other one?
Ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed. 6 to midnight. All right.
Damn, that's 3 days
over here.
2 hours.
I'm so excited about this.
So that's our stout one. All those flavors you get, all that chocolate, all that coffee, all comes from the malts. There's no coffee in it. There's no chocolate in it.
I don't believe you.
I know. We get that a lot. He gets that a lot.
Really? What kind of coffee's in there? Seriously. You can tell.
No, really.
Serious.
No, I'm cool.
Oh boy. All right, that's a stout one.
That is a good stout.
That's a good stout.
There's cans of it sitting right.
I'm leaving.
Yes, there is.
Wait for you to buy them.
And so what Daniel was talking about earlier is we took that beer last year and we put it into rum barrels.
And it was amazing.
That is my all-time top favorite. That's why I got 1 can. I love you guys, but I was like, I'm sorry. Like,
I got Pending Grace.
Bourbon barrel, Pending Grace.
Yeah, yes.
You shopping?
So
there it is.
Sir.
There it is.
Sir. That was there.
That's beautiful.
That's a fun beer. Yeah, because it was like November.
I do like my
fight
That right there is.
This was Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. We did this Black Friday.
Yeah, that's it.
So we do.
I was there like a week before, and I have a storage unit in Asheboro still. So I can't go to Asheboro.
Wait, is that your
Four
Is
Saints?
that your hookup?
He literally says every time.
Every time, yeah.
Is it heated? I was trying to say that.
That's it.
That's the background.
Some of that phase change insulation.
There you go. Look at that. Full
Worth the
circle.
gesture.
Full circle. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's
The
happening.
arm
It's happening.
of an angel. Right. I've died and come back.
That's it. That's what happens. That's what happens.
Y'all, this is this.
So this is I mean it's
Urban Valley.
what you've tasted here is a
really
good
good.
example of what we do. So that's it. I'll take it.
There he is.
I'll take it. You don't want it? I'll take it.
I do want it.
He's not
But
gonna
I can
take
get
it
it whenever.
because
I can get it whenever.
get it whenever.
That's some strong willpower right there. Because I've tasted that.
Look, when this man puts his mind to something,
It gets done.
it's done. It's done.
So it's a fun little challenge. Some beer people get together and distributor guys and other brewery guys and craft beer fans. And we did it last year. It's $50 buy-in, winner take all. Whoever loses the most percent body weight wins. I think I lost like 14% body weight over 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So you got some time.
You got some time. I was about to say when you first said like 26 pounds in one weight. No, it's just the cool people left. That's all right.
Apparently.
Don't worry about it. So when you said, you know, just the pros.
That's real talk time.
Yep.
Real talk
So fuck all these. So we'd like to welcome you guys to Multicultural, the real one.
This is after hours.
This is it. Multi-Pop and Four Saints collaborating for big things.
This is where the magic happens. This is where the world changes, folks. If you're paying attention. This is not.
Hey, fuck you, Brian. No, don't come back over here.
We just need we need that long-haired sax player guy. That's the meme. We just need to overlay that somewhere.
It's just the three of us. We were getting ready to beatbox. And,
I like it.
Why would you say I can rap? Wow. Wow. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, do you guys have any I'm in a cover band.
Nice. What's the name?
My brother Skylar.
Nice.
Not with an A. I just said it like that for some reason. But we do like 90s covers, 2000s, and later than that, and some are earlier than that. But I didn't know if you guys did like just mainly local music with like actual artists instead of people like us who just play other people's stuff.
Oh no, we do covers.
Okay,
yeah. You need to get in touch with our taproom manager, Matt Coro, who should have been here to talk about beer and pop culture stuff. Matt Coro, if you know him, give him a bit of grief. But he, I'll get you his email address. Perfect. I don't want to put it out there to the masses.
Oh yeah, no. They don't need to know all that.
Yeah, they don't need to know. But we do live music, like I said, every Saturday. And when we say local, we look at people. And so we have people come from Winston. We have people come from Greensboro.
Okay, right.
Where are y'all based at?
Here. Well, my brother lives in Atlanta, but we started in High Point. Then we came to Greensboro.
90s,
Skylar?
90s and 2000s. I think you guys would kill it down there. Absolutely. That's kind of I would say that's kind of the heart of our demographic.
Yeah.
Because somebody like 90s was high school and college for me, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so the older population, that's when they were in their 20s and 30s, and then all the younger kids, that's the retro stuff or whatever. But yeah, go ahead and.
You guys ever heard of that band Nirvana?
Nirvana? Sure. Yeah, I just bought a classic album the other day. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, well, no. When Rock 92 started playing Pearl Jam, I was like, man, this is it. This is
classic.
This is where we are. We're classic.
Hey, we don't like Pearl Jam?
No, we do.
We do.
We do.
We don't want to hear it on Rock 92.
I love Rock 92, but it's classic rock.
Old.
Right, it's old. It's old. It's 20.
That's the point.
That's 22 years. That's 22 years ago. 23 years ago.
What was your first experience with Pearl Jam?
The album live. I've never seen them live, but
the first time I ever heard them was watching the video for Even Flow.
That's pretty.
I was like,
yeah.
That's how I got into a lot of bands back then. Is because watching the like Tool.
oh my God, yeah.
So you like Tool?
Yes.
Have you heard of the big music festival that's going to be down in Rockingham? Called like the Epic.
Yeah. Is it Foo Fighters? And
Foo Fighters are going to be there. Tool's going to be there.
Legitimate. Yeah. It's
looking it up.
You cannot stream Tool.
No.
I was telling that. I was like,
You can do a couple of songs that are like with other
good thing
people.
is with
You can stream a perfect circle.
Yeah,
it's not Tool, bro.
Solid.
It's kind of Tool.
There is
Diet Tool.
It's Diet Tool.
Yeah.
Right.
What's
Diet
Diet? What's Diet Tool?
A perfect circle.
This is Yoga Pants Latte.
Oh, that's what this is?
Yes, this is Yoga Pants Latte.
That's what this
Yeah, I mean, no.
This one's one of your favorites, right?
Yes. So we do a pumpkin Belgian ale
Show that
every.
in the thing.
Get it close.
That's beautiful. Look how cool that is, man. That makes all the sense.
So the can art itself, we have a local guy named Rich Powell that does this.
Nice.
Yeah, Rich is a
Shout out to Rich.
Look at that lineup. He's a hell of a cartoonist. But we source.
He's a cartoon. Rich is he works for Mad Magazine.
And
He also
highlights.
he
too.
does highlights. So
No
the highlights hidden pictures. And he also used to do art for Sierra. So Sierra games like King's Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, all that stuff back in the day. He used to work for them as well.
It's the craziest thing to see him come in the tap room.
Yeah.
And he gets a beer or two in him and he's doodling on napkins.
Right on the bar?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so we have a pumpkin Belgian beer we do every year. And so our Belgian base, we had roasted pumpkins to it. We had some spices to it, but we don't kill it with those spices, right? And so every year we've done that. And the first year we made it a joke. We're like, you know what? Let's do a beer where we add extra spices. Let's add coffee to it. Let's add vanilla to it. Let's add some lactose to it. We call it yoga pants latte. Yeah, because pumpkin spice lattes is the rage that they are. Right. We put a 6-to-1 tap. It was right. It was we put it on tap and it was gone in less than a day. So the next year we did a half barrel. Half barrel was gone in less than 2 days. And so this is the third year of it, and we're like, let's just go ahead and can it up. And we canned it up, and it's flown. So basically, what we're going to do with Yoga Pants Latte is we're going to make it a seasonal. And so it's going to be a latte version every season. So this first quarter in February is going to be a mocha latte. So it's going to be Yoga Pants Mocha Latte. The second quarter, the plan is to do a lavender latte. Third quarter is when the Yoga Pants will come out because that's typically when all
Who came up with the name?
Spice comes out. It was a collaborative. We all sat around. Probably more so you than
we all sat around. We were like,
we should call it the wives.
There was a couple names like, no, we can't.
There were a couple really funny names that we would get yelled
This
at.
makes all the sense.
Sure.
It makes all the sense.
Like,
Well, now you guys can blame us for all the funny.
well, and you could have called
It's
like the end thing now for breweries is to get cease and desist letters. So I kind of like thought maybe let's do Infinity Scarf and Ugg Boots or the Han Solo Experience because it's always
Yeah.
The spices are ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon.
Yes.
So once again, it's you get those spices. You get those cinnamon. You get those spices in there, but they're not mashed over the head, right? And so, and then fourth quarter, we're looking at either doing peppermint or hazelnut. And we're gonna put that out to a vote, let everybody make a decision and tell us which one to go with. But
I may have missed this, but hazelnut instead of what? Peppermint.
so, dude, we're gonna do a mocha. We're planning to do a mocha latte the first quarter, lavender latte second quarter, the original Yoga Pants, which is basically a pumpkin latte in the third quarter, and then we've gone back and forth between peppermint and hazelnut. And by that time, we'll put it out to a vote. We'll let you guys decide what to do. And,
Well, right here, right now, I say hazelnut.
that's interesting. Why would you say hazelnut? Why would you go hazelnut? Let's deep dive
I,
here.
for one, think Nutella. I think peppermint is fine by its own, but I'm one of the motherfuckers that think peppermint and chocolate is fucking gross.
Gross? Interesting.
You're stupid.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, again.
But I understand that it's a huge market and people love shit like that. So.
Have you ever bitten into a York peppermint patty?
Yeah, and I spit it right back out. I spit it right back out on the pavement where it belongs.
Right, you need a fan. Also, while you're biting into a York peppermint patty, you feel the sensation.
Of what?
The sensation.
It's just the sensation.
that's what you would do for a Klondike.
I think he said it
Okay, that's what I was
What
thinking.
would you do for a Klondike?
I would eat a York peppermint. Exactly what I would do.
We gotta do this again.
Yeah. At
We're
Four
taking it
Saints.
on the road.
Andy's
We have a giant table. Right now.
giant table.
Right?
Big giant
table right
that
now.
is regulation ping pong size. I mean, we give
an extra mic.
bring an extra mic. You can set up the
We can get pizza delivered to us at a giant table,
Yep.
and there's a fireplace.
I'm already gooing over this. You know what I mean?
I know
Is that too much?
I told you.
That is
I'm
fine.
gonna tell it right. I tried to told him. I tried to told you. I tried to told you.
Where's Dan with that ball?
I've been beating my chest about Four Saints ever since I went there.
It's all over my pants right
Oh my God. Y'all have been, y'all are awesome, dude. Y'all are seriously like, the only thing I knew about y'all from sitting down here at the start was the Only Blonde, which, like I said, eyes off the fucking shelter. It's what I always go to, like you said. Oh, can I get a Blue Moon, or can I get a Coors Light, or can I get a blah, blah, blah. If it's not PBR or something that they're ordering, I'm just like, they're like, can I get something light colored? I'm like, wow, you racist. And then I'm like, that's how we know. And then I'm like,
keep on our toes.
but it is literally the first beer I go to. When I saw we had it on last week, I was ecstatic because it's hard. Like it's hard to do. Literally right now, the only other thing we have on is to like, oh, we're gonna get something right, like either a PBR or you stay seated. it's like, I mean, it's like I incent people. I'm like, you've had that tire, right? And they're like, yeah, I probably had that tire. I'm like, yeah, man. That's what I'm gonna give you. This is all right.
But the thing is, you do that with the Oni.
I do it with the Oni, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll have one of these every single time, 100% of the time. It's not filled in yet.
And that's your number one seller.
That's easily our number
But
one
now,
seller.
oh my God, you guys are so fucking cool, both of you.
Well, thank you.
And like, I literally cannot wait to come to your place and do this podcast and hopefully be eaten by a liar.
I will make sure.
Be eaten by a liar. We've got a bunch of
come in.
every Wednesday night.
I'll
We've
drop
got
you off. He's moving.
What's he saying? Good about
Africa
He's like,
or North America?
lions out here. Because that dude was singing after that.
every Wednesday we've got a group that comes in from the zoo. The head veterinarian, the head of mammals, like they all come in and it's their chill spot every Wednesday.
You guys have a lot of interesting job titles come in that door. Head of mammals.
Head of mammals.
And what was the certified?
Oh, it's just
Certified
certified
Pine impersonator?
Yes. Yeah, that's
I want to meet her.
I got to get a better job and then come there. And they're like,
I tell you what, you just tell us
get my
what to do.
$600 mug.
I'm a hot pocket engineer. You know how it gets inside? I figured that out.
I'm the one that determines whether it's going to be freezing cold or boiling lava.
Scald them out so that
I do it so that it's freezing cold over here, but boiling lava over here.
there's a thin line.
Genius.
He thinks he's safe, but he's gonna burn himself.
Burn move your mouth this way. It's ice cold over here. We have this.
Oh my goodness. You guys want to just say
You know what?
the address?
I'm going to get
Oh,
a
sure.
spread it.
So
We can talk about it.
if you're looking to come down to the tap room, we are located at 218 South Fayetteville Street. That's in right downtown Asheboro. There is a Bicentennial Park is right behind us. It's free all day parking, so you can come on in and hang out. And we always suggest people to come down if you're looking to make a day out of it. You come on down on a Saturday. You hit up the Table Farmhouse Bakery for breakfast. They have a fantastic avocado smash toast, which is beautiful. They've got a cream cheese cinnamon roll, which is awesome. The coffee is always on.
Smoked pork hash with eggs.
There you go. Right there. And then you head over to the zoo. Check it out. There's so many people. That's the triple. Yes, sir. There's a lot of people we talk to that they say, yeah, you know, I haven't been to the zoo in 10 years. I've been to the zoo in 5 years. I've been to the zoo in 15. And I guarantee if you haven't been to the zoo in the past 2 years, you have not been to the zoo. They have made amazing strides in making it interactive and wonderful. They've got something called the Zoofari, which runs on Saturdays and Sundays. The tickets go on sale as soon as the park opens at 9. The first ride I think is at 10. And it sells out. Basically, you get on a school bus, and they ride you out onto the safari plains, and there's a zookeeper on there, and they talk to you about the animals. And the animals have gotten comfortable enough where they'll come close, but not too close. But you're right there in the middle of it, and it sells out all the time.
It's a mini safari in North Carolina.
Exactly, right.
That's awesome.
At the zoo. So, so you spend the day at the zoo, check that out. You come back downtown, and plenty of places to get a great lunch on Saturday. Magnolia 23, which is right downtown, has the nation's 63rd best fried chicken. So, I mean, you think of how much fried... Yeah. Yeah, you heard me right. So, if you think of how many fried chicken places there are across the country, and Don has got the 63rd best.
It's like Zagat's rated. It's not just. It's not like BuzzFeed's top,
Right.
20. You'll never believe number 8 fried chicken.
But it's legit down home cooking, and then if you like hot dogs, there's a place called Mike's Chicago Dogs. Vienna beef. Vienna beef. Got the snap. It's got the snap. So you go down there.
You put so much shit on the hot dogs.
Yeah. So there's plenty of food downtown to eat, and then there's a couple of nice, really cool shops. You get down to Seagrove, and so then on that Saturday, when you're closing, you're getting ready to close it up, and you come over to the tap room. We got live music every Saturday night, like Matt mentioned earlier. We never charge a cover. You come in, you hear great music, and it can span everything from Americana folk up to jazz to whatever. You just never know what you're gonna catch. And you grab dinner from Times Square Pizzeria downtown. My personal favorite is the chicken bacon ranch pizza.
I've had it.
Yeah,
That's actually very good.
get that.
I've opted for the chicken balsamic.
Chicken balsamic's really good. And you get their wings, get the sauce on the side, and they've got some of the best wings I have ever had.
And they'll bring it to you. I called them and I said, I'm at the bar. They said,
not
where at the bar?
Not anymore.
No?
Not anymore. But it's like right
It's
around
literally a door away.
Yeah. And so then you close up the night, and Ashburn now has an Uber.
Hey!
Singular and Uber.
Yes,
and Uber.
And
And a Lyft, and it's the same guy.
And he's great. Glenn is fantastic. But you come on down and you get yourself a hotel room. There's a couple Airbnbs, whatever, and make it a day. And then you wake up in that morning and you go out and hit brunch somewhere, or hit lunch somewhere. The kitchen.
Is it restaurant? It's around the corner from you guys, next to the loft.
You're talking the table. That's
the table.
No, they're not open on Sundays, but I'd go to Jugtown.
Jugtown's the easy one,
yeah. But anyways, you can have a full on day down there, and it's a town that has been growing and making leaps and strides, and there's 2 other bottle shops down there. They do wine. There's a couple Via's does great cocktails. I mean, you could really have a day of it in downtown Ashburn. We tell people that, are like, no, it's dead. Like, yeah, it was 10 years ago.
Used to be.
Right.
And 10 years ago, there was a group of people that got together, and the campaign was called For the Future of Ashburn. And that's what it was about. And we have the downtown that we have now because of those people and the hard work that they put in. We exist. Four Saints exist because of what they did.
Right.
And this town is it's growing. And so not just downtown, but things out on 64, things that are kind of spattered around. And so if you haven't been to Ashburn in a good long while, if you've only come to Ashburn for the zoo, now's the time to come on back. Make a mecca, and you're going to find out that from Greensboro you got a 25-minute, 30-minute ride, and you're going to have yourself a hell of a time.
I'll tell you what, man. If they ever need a spokesperson,
That's you.
Ashburn.
My God, he sold me. I'm told I'm literally telling my girlfriend.
I mean, we have not done many live podcasts before. This is by far a favorite.
I've never used the word vacation
Matt lived there for a little bit. I love the quietness of it, but there is stuff to do, and just like you said,
I wasn't even there for a week, and I go to this bar. I didn't know anything about Ashboro.
Right.
I knew the roads, Fayetteville, and all that. And then there used to be a textile mill.
Yep.
Which is gone down. You living in the past, homie.
Well, the beauty of it too is after the change 10 years ago, you start seeing small business people that wanted to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see someone that wants to open up their own restaurant and not a franchise. You get people that are like, you know, they see a brewery open up, and then I think a lot of folks said, hey, if these two guys can get together and do something that's completely new and different from what Ashboro had been, maybe I can too.
The location is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while there was just a flying thing.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
We've got a bakery that opened up right down from us right
Peanut
now.
batter.
Peanut batter's unbelievable. It's a they bring in cupcakes every now and then.
For our theme trivia, they do themed cupcakes for all of our theme trivia. So last night was Friends trivia, and so they did a raspberry cheesecake filled chocolate cupcake with a buttercream icing and a dollop of jam.
Called the Ugly Naked Guy.
No, it wasn't called the. No, it's from the. It's called the episode called "The One with Jam," right?
Yeah.
And so we did a classic country theme night, and they did a chocolate cupcake with a buttercream icing, and then they found these little tiny cups, and inside the tiny little cups they put shredded coconut that they had dyed brown and spilled it over, so it looked like a spilled spit cup. Going with classic country, and it was it was slow clap. It was absolutely slow clap. For Game of Thrones, they did red velvet and blue velvet cupcakes, and then they took cinnamon Jolly Ranchers and blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers and melted them down, and then broke them. So you had these shards.
Icy Fire.
So they had the Icy Fire cupcakes. Like, these girls are talented, they're creative, and what they make is, I'll put it up against anything.
Where are they looking?
They're 2 doors down from us.
They made their own Christmas tree cakes, just like think Little Debbie, but like
Little Debbie
much
Christmas.
better.
Yeah.
They made their own Christmas.
They're
tree
called
cakes.
Big Deborahs.
Yep.
Get the fuck out
They're
of here.
beautiful. They are awesome.
They just stone cold stunnered.
Little Debbie. And the thing is too, you see these businesses doing this, and they're doing gangbuster business. Like, they put up on Facebook today, they sold out of every single thing that they had made.
Yep.
And like, I know they made cheesecakes.
They did.
They
The other
painted batter.
painted batter. So the other it was October. They did these sugar skull cakes, and so they made these sugar skull cakes. They put them on Instagram, and I saw them. I was like, "This looks really cool." Like, I'm gonna get one for Estella, my daughter, and like let's get one for her. I walked over about an hour after they posted it, and I went, "I want to get one of those sugar skull cakes." They're like, "Yeah, we're out of it." I was like, "Huh?" They said no. They just posted. I mean, it was just posted an hour ago. They said they had a lady run into the building.
Yeah. You see that?
Oh yeah, the cakes they do are
Unreal.
yeah. She had a lady run in, out of breath, goes, "I need all the sugar." So they looked at her and they went, "How many do you want?" She said, "All of them." So I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you misheard me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think I mean a lot of bacon and eggs. I mean all the bacon and eggs.
So they do, and so they're right next door. We work with them, and that's one of the other things we do is we want to work with local businesses because it's rising tide, lifts all boats and do what they do, and they're big Deborahs. They've got some big Deborahs right now that are shaped like unicorns,
We've got this beer that has this flavor.
something else. They posted it just today. So
What coffee do you have that would be a good infusion on that? So they'll come up and go, well, this is Bitter Brothers, and it's mild and nutty and easy. I think this coffee would pair well with it because it's maybe a little bit more citrus or it's a little bit of stone fruit or something. So being able to do that with, and it's not just Ashboro that we work with. There are a lot of other folks we work with bakeries. We've sent our spent grain to bakeries today, as a matter of fact.
Or Camino up in Winston.
So we had one thing with Camino that was a lot of fun. Camino Bakery, we sent them a couple crowlers of the stout. They used that stout to bake a bread.
Okay.
We took that bread and we brewed a beer with it. Yeah. So it's an old style, and then we called that perpetual because technically we could send them that beer. And they could brew, keep it going nonstop. So that's awesome. There's lots of fun little projects that are always out there. So
that's what it's about. I mean, if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, you gotta be serious about it to a degree about the fact that it's a business, and you gotta take care. You gotta take care of your own.
Yeah, right.
But the other part of it is You got to have fun with it. It's got to be something that's got to get you up every single morning and go, what is it? What can I do today that is going to make somebody's life better? And at the end of the day, I'm going to sit back and go, hell yeah, I did that.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's it. If you can find that,
the
that's
first time I met him. No bullshit.
Yeah.
so.
Love it. Gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us.
I did die.
Sign off over here. Everybody tuned in. Everybody's going to be watching here in the next couple days. Make sure you check them out.
Go to Four Saints, Ashboro.
Baby.